Nicholas Soames was King Charles' loyal ally for years. Soames, the grandson of Winston Churchill and a lifelong monarchist, supported the future king, shielded him from criticism, and even served as his best man at his 1981 royal wedding to Princess Diana. But loyalty seems to have waned. In an unexpected turn of events, Soames has spoken about King Charles. His sentences lack royal refinement, no diplomatic courtesy, unpolished remarks. This time, Soames rages. This time he accuses. His worst crime was killing her. Those three frustrated words carry decades of secrets, betrayals, and remorse. Why did Soames snap? What does this tell about Charles' relationship with Diana and his closest friends? Return to the beginning. Tradition-based fraternity. Charles and Soames' 65-year relationship. To understand Nicholas Soames's wrath, one must realize how close he was to King Charles. It was neither a temporary relationship nor a convenient political alliance. For 65 years, they had shared companionship, trust, and a deep respect for the monarchy. Nicholas Soames wasn't a typical royal aristocrat. He was one of Charles' closest confidants and loyal. Tradition characterized their friendship. Born into noble households, both were raised to understand obligation. Soames, born 1948, was Winston Churchill's grandson, a symbol of British leadership and resilience. From childhood, he was in the elite, understanding early on that privilege required duty. He was involved in royal family circles due to his family's political and military links. His path intersected with young Prince Charles soon after. They met in the early 1960s, when Charles was a youngster and Soames was a few years older. The Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, taught both men leadership, discipline, and crown duty, which cemented their relationship. As they faced family and institutional expectations, their friendship strengthened. Soames, an extrovert with a loud voice and a reputation for honesty, complemented Charles' introversion and sensitivity. Soames could lighten the mood with a joke while delivering sound advice, unlike Charles, who is often thoughtful and burdened by his future role. Beyond social gatherings, their friendship grew over time. Charles trusted Soames, his close advisor. Charles relied on him for advice, support, and discretion at his worst times. Soames was key to Charles' 1981 marriage to Diana. He was Charles's best man, an accolade that showed the men trusted each other. It was more than ceremonial, it showed loyalty. Soames undoubtedly thought he was standing with his friend at the start of a great royal connection, ensure Charles's future and strengthen the monarchy. As we all know, things went wrong. Soames was trapped in the rift. Soames faced an untenable situation as Charles and Diana's marriage unraveled. He was deeply loyal to Charles, the man he had known for decades and sworn to support as king. However, Diana, a youthful, energetic woman, had won over the British public. Soames doubted Diana early on. He saw her as a wild card, too emotional, unpredictable, and ready to break royal norms. Soames was one of Diana's harshest critics when she openly discussed her marriage problems and her royal family isolation. When Diana complained of palace insiders watching and undermining her, Soames publicly dismissed her claims as ridiculous. He didn't see Diana as a victim. She underestimated royal duty, someone who followed her emotions instead of protocol. He supported Charles even more once the prince's liaison with Camilla Parker Bowles became public. While the world slammed Charles for his infidelity, Soames supported him. He believed that Charles's marriage to Diana was doomed from the start, since Camilla was his true love and the lady who understood him. Soames remained harsh on Diana following her divorce from Charles due to his loyalty to Charles. He distanced himself from public feeling by denying the emotional toll of the broken marriage on her. The world grieved Diana's 1997 car crash death, an extraordinary expression of mourning. For the first time, the royal family was criticized for their chilly and delayed response. Queen Elizabeth and Charles eventually acknowledged the nation's grief, but Soames persisted. Although others showed sympathy for Diana, he did not. However, he defended Charles against growing allegations that his behavior, coldness, adultery, and seeming disrespect for Diana's well-being contributed to her death. Soames was angrier than ever behind closed doors, where it all went wrong. Nicholas Soames consistently denounced Princess Diana. Although devoted to Charles, he treated Diana coldly, dismissively, and often cruelly. He saw her as a monarchy destabilizer, not a victim of an unhappy marriage. An outsider who didn't comprehend her role, she should have known according to her upbringing. Diana told close friends that she felt trapped, observed, and targeted by royal institution forces throughout her marriage to Charles. The royal strain and her growing understanding of Charles' friendship with Camilla Parker Bowles separated her. Instead of sympathizing, Soames was one of the first to mock these worries. His disgust peaked in 1995 after Diana's Panorama interview with Martin Bashir. Diana opened out about her marriage, hardships, and perceived attempts to discredit her in this stunning interview. She famously said, "This marriage was crowded because there were 3 of us," incriminating Charles's longtime affair with Camilla. Soames was furious at another Diana comment. She said palace insiders monitored her. She claimed that royal family members were trying to suppress or control her. Soames immediately condemned her. He flatly denied her charges and suggested she was paranoid. His statements were perceived as a strong defense of Charles and the monarchy, shutting down conjecture and shielding the future king from controversy. Soames' reaction went beyond damage management. His animosity toward Diana was personal, according to friends. He was enraged at her harsh divorce from Charles, furious that a marriage he had watched as best man had become one of the monarchy's worst disasters. His frustration blinded him to Diana's pain, causing him to publicly criticize her. Soames later stated that he was upset, but advised against getting involved. He saw Diana's interview as a betrayal that embarrassed Charles and threatened the monarchy. He didn't merely oppose her speech. He tried to discredit her in the worst way possible. Soames harshly indicated that Diana's charges against Charles, particularly her belief that he had been unfaithful, were based on her mental condition and severe paranoia. It was a crushing claim that aimed to discredit Diana. Soames reinforces the palace's story that Diana was unstable, difficult, and unfit for royal life by presenting her fears as fantasies. He presented himself as the rational voice of reason, rejecting her as a damaged woman who had lied to bring Charles down. Diana's worries were confirmed by records and testimonials from former royal workers, revealing she had been observed. Her calls were tapped. Her moves were watched. The pressure she described wasn't paranoia. It was true. Soames never repudiated his claims. His opinion that Diana had irreparably damaged Charles and the monarchy persisted until the end. Even when her treatment was revealed, he refused to admit she was right. Instead, he defended his sworn friend at all costs. Diana never considered Soames an enemy. He was one of her harshest detractors. In order to protect Charles, he made her the villain even in death. Soames did not openly mourn Diana's 1997 death like many of Charles' allies. He refused to criticize Charles and said